Sure, Coach. Hey, how you doing? Hope all is
Good.
well.
Appreciate that. All is well.
Every year that you've been at NC State, at least one Wolfpack player or alumni has made it to the Super Bowl 13 straight years. What's that say about you, your program, having three in there this year? It's a pretty amazing feat.
It's the pinnacle of our sport, at the highest level, the best two teams in the world, and to have representation 13 years in a row. I didn't even know that. That's awesome. Man, I mean, I can't even put in words what that makes me feel, but I'm super excited. I'm proud of those guys, and it's why we do what we do at this level is to try to help guys reach their dreams, and that is the ultimate dream, especially if they can pull it off. One of the teams is going to be excited, I guess, and get a hold that trophy up. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing those guys play against each other, and knowing I had a part in it means a lot.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it very much.
All right, Tim.
Corey?
Dave, obviously just got off with Drake. I wanted to ask you just first of all your thoughts on seeing his development and what he's done at the NFL level and the journey he's gone on, but also just what it means to be able to watch him in the Super Bowl, the biggest game of the year.
Well, developmentally, top two high school linebackers I've seen play at a game live as far as how he played the position. I left the game and told our staff, like, that's one of the most physical, violent hitting linebackers that can actually run that I've ever seen in person. And I said, I don't know how he's going to make it through college hitting people the way he does. I mean, it was a vicious game that I watched him play in. And, knowing his family the way I did at the time, with they were already on my team, I knew what kind of football family it was. I knew that he'd have impeccable work ethic and attention to detail. I knew how coachable he'd be. I'm not surprised at all that he is over probably extended what people thought he could do in this profession, being as measurables are what they are, and but he has everything else and more. And so I'm not surprised. I'm super happy that it did happen though, because over the years you've seen other guys that you've coached that you thought belonged in that league, and for whatever reason it didn't happen. And in his case, it's happening and more. So, I'm just excited to watch these guys, and him and Bradbury going up against each other on a lot of plays. Like, there's going to be several run plays where Garrett's blocking Drake. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see that matchup.
JC?
You mentioned how making players' dreams come true. When you think back 10 years ago, you offered Drake. You've seen what Peyton Wilson's become. You've seen what Isaiah Moore has become. What is it like to kind of sit back and think what these guys have done under your tutelage?
It's rewarding. I mean, that's why I got into football, the high school level. I felt like I was impacting lives and giving back to the game that impacted mine. And, over the years, there's a lot of them that I'm really proud of now, and know that I had a piece of that journey with them, believing in them when I did, recruiting them, developing them, and in some cases, hiring them in the profession. So yeah, I mean, it's really rewarding, and it's definitely, for somebody that really gets off on helping guys improve themselves in the profession, like, man, that's just one example. But there's a lot of Isaiah Moore and Gavin Lockley are now on my staff, two guys that, same kind of thing. They're now full-time coaches excelling in this sport in the Power Four, and both of them have coordinator titles waiting on them down the road. Both of them could coach in the NFL. Both of them could end up being head coaches. And same thing, I love the fact that I was a part of the journey with them, and still am.
Noah?
Yeah, hey coach, you mentioned it a little bit, but what's it been like for you to watch Drake, go from an undrafted guy, have to go through a serious, injury and come out on the other side and, earn a starting spot in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful that he was able to get on a team that had a need. I think that's one of the things that gets lost, and there's 32 teams and these vets don't give up their jobs at that level. It's hard to get on a team. And when you're a free agent, sometimes it's harder. And when you're a free agent, it really matters what team you end up on. Like some of these teams don't have a need. They just bring you in to be legs in practice. And before his injury, he was able to be at a team in Seattle and actually got traded there from Vegas, but went to a team that had a need and proved himself, and you think about who he is and then he has a pretty substantial injury and he proved himself enough that they didn't get rid of him. Because in some cases, that injury ends your career at that team. And so you can tell that he was able to prove himself enough with Seattle. And now he, has worn the captain's jersey for them several times through the season, I've been told. And none of those things surprise me. Like, I'm just glad that he got on a team that gave him that chance and believed in him the way they did because of his work.
Rob,
Yes, sir. I wondered your earliest memories of watching Super Bowls as a young boy, maybe. What was that like? And you've kind of talked about this a little bit, but how humbling it must feel to have grown into a man who's helped people reach that stage in their career.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to give you specifics. I mean, I've loved football since I could walk, and all the 49ers games and Cowboys and Packers and Bears and all those teams, Dolphins, Broncos, like all these teams that were dynasties that had players I looked up to, in my youth. There's really not a specific memory that sticks out. Super Bowl Sunday was a holiday. People got together and somebody's mom, this was before you ordered buffalo wings on Uber Eats, right? Like, somebody's mom made chili or did something and we all hung out and went out in the yard and played football. And sometimes, in the Midwest, there was a bowling alley involved at some point, probably, we all gathered at. But yeah, I mean, the Super Bowl, pretty meaningful day in young kids' lives, and couldn't wait for the commercials too. Like the commercials used to be some of the best things you got to watch. Like they've really gone downhill in my opinion. Like some of those earlier Super Bowl commercials were epic.
JC,
What do you remember of seeing a tight end at Charlotte Christian who morphed into a Remington Award winner and a first-round pick?
Yeah. Garrett Bradbury's quite a story, big physical tight end, really smart, multi-sport kid, was a good baseball player, catcher. That was Pac-14, and at that time, as you guys know, I was trying to rebuild a team. I was just trying to find really tough, versatile football players that could do a lot of things, knowing that I may move guys positionally over time. And Garrett was a guy that, lifted and ate himself into being a lineman, starting on the D line because of his athleticism. And then because of our needs, moved him back to O line and then turned into a leader. And centers are leaders, and super athletic center, one of the most athletic probably that's been through college football in a while. And obviously that, allowed him to win that award and be drafted the way he did. And he's been super durable, knock on wood, in his career. And it's fun watching him. It's kind of another part of this storyline, the fact that he's snapping the ball to a Carolina quarterback, I think is another part of this that's pretty cool. Our state is very represented in this game. Two Charlotte boys at that.
Tucker,
Hey, Coach. Just wondering, kind of, if you've seen Drake's story sort of influence guys currently on the team or within the program that have aspirations of playing in the pros at the next level, and then even used it kind of on the recruiting trail.
Definitely used it on the recruiting trail with the team. I don't know. We've been gone. We just got back. Yesterday was my first time in front of the entire roster since we finished recruiting because, the last 2 weeks of January were the last 2 weeks of contact. So I couldn't give you a strong answer on that. I know the guys are excited that I've talked to about the representation we have. But completely, I mean, every recruit I get in front of, I ask them, who are you going to cheer for in the Super Bowl? Have you heard about our guys that are in it and things like that?
Corey,
One guy we haven't really touched on as much, Corey Durden. a little bit different journey. You know, the other two you developed and you had a chance to work with over the course of 4 and in some case 5 years. But, you know, with Corey Durden, a guy that comes over from Florida State, just looking for more opportunity.
Yeah.
What was it like to see his development at both NC State, but also now seeing him continue to do the same thing at the NFL level, now finally getting his opportunity this season?
Yeah, I'm equally proud of Corey. You know, came in with 2 years remaining and he needed a fresh start. You know, things for whatever reason had transpired the way they did down there, and he was ready for a fresh start. We gave him one, and he was a heck of a player. You know, a guy that, you know, had a lot on his plate, family-wise, had children, you know, was engaged. And so different place, different time for him, and trying to learn how to become a, you know, more than a college student, you know, a man that has a lot of responsibility at that time in his life, and was an all-conference player. I really think he grew up a lot, learned how to handle a lot of responsibility while he was here. I mean, very gratitude-oriented young man. I mean, a number of times he thanked me for different things along the way while he was here. I really appreciated that about him. Sometimes when you get a transfer from a blue blood program, you don't see that. You see more of an entitled guy. And with him, it was the opposite. He was just grateful and really played his butt off. And you look at his NFL journey, like he's been cut several times. He's had to get re-signed. He's, you know, changed teams, and now he's found a home. And I think this is his third team, maybe. I'm pretty sure it was Rams, Lions, and now Patriots. So, you know, he's had to earn this opportunity with them, which is, you know, kind of our path at NC State, earn not given. And I'm proud of him for sticking with it, because I've talked to him several times along the way, and it's like, Coach, I don't know if I'm gonna get another chance. Like, hey, I'm getting cut, and Corey wants to coach one day, so you know we've stayed in touch and talked about that path for him whenever they do take the ball away. But I'm excited for him. I know he's gonna play hard, man. That guy's got a big motor.
Thanks
Tim,
so much, Dave.
Speaking of thank yous, how often does Garrett thank you for calling his number on that play where he scored the touchdown?
Yeah.
And sort of the seminal moment for all linemen everywhere.
Yeah, the fullback belly to the center was a great play against ECU, and I've had several guys over the years ask for it, and you know that's a hard play to get called too. Like, you know, it was great. I can't remember what got us to the 1 yard line, but it did, and so it gave me enough time on a long play to, you know, turn around and tell Drinkwitz to give him the football. But yeah, I mean that to me is like the biggest thank you I can give to an offensive lineman, is giving them the football to run with. And so that was awesome. I hope I get to repeat that someday for one of our guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Kate,
Coach, you have a lot of former players in the NFL. What is it actually like watching two guys go up against each other and compete, regardless if they're just on opposing teams, but guys like Garrett and Drake that could be going one-on-ones in a variety of plays?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what that's like, because I haven't played at that level. I haven't played in a game of that magnitude or coached in one. I've been a national championship game at FCS, but to say that I know what that's like would be lying. You know, I mean, they're very competitive guys. They're going to want to win this game more than any game they've ever played in. They're both going to give everything they have. And so, you know, I can't wait to watch it as a fan and a spectator, but you know, I think they'd be better suited to give you an answer what that's going to be like. You know, I'm just excited to be a part of enjoying it. And it's going to be hard to cheer for anybody, is cheer for them all and hope that it's a hell of a football game.
Murph, you want to finish this up?
Yeah, I was going to ask who do you root for in a game like this? Would you just kind of answer that?
Yeah,
Have you ever
I mean,
been to a Super Bowl? Any of these players at any point ever said, "Hey, coach, come on, go to the game with us"?
You know, I think those guys get so taxed by their families. I have not. I tried to go to a Chiefs game, Super Bowl, a few years back, and for whatever reason, we didn't end up doing it. But yeah, I sit on the couch with a lot of snacks and obviously some nice adult beverages around me and cheer the game on. And I hope that the halftime show is not terrible, and look forward to some good commercials. And I want to see a 4-quarter game. I mean, that's what I want to see. It's a really good football game, like the national championship was this year, man. You want to see a really good football game when it comes down to that final game of the season.
All right, everybody. Thanks, Coach. And